While most of our surnames would get us little more than a restaurant reservation, the Habsburg name that a couple of Generation Z heirs have once governed an empire stretching from Budapest to Prague, commanding vast territories where their very word was law. Thus, today, as we all chase our likes and comments on social media, Ferdinand Habsburg chases checkered flags at Le Mans, while his sister Eleanor turns the runway into her modern royal court. And though their family's current $15 million fortune might seem modest compared to tech billionaires' billions, that's missing the point entirely. You see, where their ancestors collected crowns, they're collecting something far more valuable in today's world: genuine respect. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we demonstrate how these modern Central European heirs aren't trying to rule a continent anymore. Instead, they're mastering turning 1,000 years of imperial legacy into 21st century relevance. In 2024, the Habsburg name still carries the weight of imperial legacy, with Karl von Habsburg, father of Ferdinand and Eleonore, maintaining an estimated fortune of $15 million through careful management of the family's remaining assets and business ventures. And his children, Ferdinand Habsburg Lothringen and Eleonore von Habsburg Lothringen, represent the Generation Z evolution of Europe's most storied dynasty, each carving out their own modern paths while maintaining connections to their historical heritage. The family's current holdings, while substantial, present a stark contrast to their ancestors' imperial possessions. Where the Habsburg Empire once controlled vast territories from Budapest to Prague, today's generation maintains a more diversified portfolio. Now, Karl von Habsburg's primary residence in Salzburg, Austria, serves as the family's modern base, a far cry from the 1,441 rooms of Schönbrunn Palace, but nevertheless befitting a family of their status. Ferdinand divides his time between racing circuits and his Austrian residence, while Eleanor balances life between Europe and her marriage into the D'Ambrosio family. And their income streams reflect modern aristocracy's adaptation to the 21st century. Ferdinand has established himself in the competitive world of professional racing, competing in the prestigious Le Mans 24 Hours and the DTM series. His racing career isn't merely a hobby. He's claimed notable victories, including the 2020 Le Mans LMP2 class win. Eleanor, meanwhile, has built a successful career in the fashion industry, securing contracts with prestigious houses like Dolce & Gabbana and establishing herself as a respected presence in European high society. Indeed, the transformation of Habsburg wealth from imperial magnitude to contemporary prosperity tells a story of remarkable adaptation. Their ancestor, Emperor Franz Joseph I, presided over one of Europe's great powers, ruling an empire that stretched across much of Central Europe. Today, while the family no longer controls vast territories or wields political power, they maintain significant social influence and have successfully translated their heritage into modern opportunity. The Habsburg name remains their most enduring asset, not as a tool for opening doors, but as a responsibility they carry into their contemporary pursuits. Yet the journey from ruling an empire to racing cars and walking runways represents more than just a change in profession. To understand how the heirs of Europe's most powerful dynasty adapted to life in the age of Instagram, we must return to the twilight of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, when their great-grandfather Emperor Karl I faced decisions that would reshape their family's future forever. The Habsburg dynasty emerged from an ancestral fortress, Habsburg Castle, built in what is now the Austrian canton of Aargau. First documented in the 11th century when Count Radbot used the castle's name, the family would grow from regional nobles into Europe's most powerful ruling house, though they would later move their seat of power to Vienna in the 13th century. Through centuries of strategic marriages and political maneuvering, the Habsburgs accumulated an unprecedented collection of crowns and territories. Their diplomatic approach to expansion was so successful that Matthias Corvinus, King of Hungary, reportedly quipped, "Let others wage war. You, happy Austria, marry," a phrase that would come to define Habsburg strategy. The family reached its greatest expansion of power during the reign of Emperor Charles V in the early 16th century. His empire encompassed vast territories including Spain, the Low Countries, and much of Central Europe, along with colonial possessions stretching from the Americas to Asia. This complex union of territories would later be divided between the Spanish and Austrian branches of the family. The Habsburgs' practice of intermarriage to maintain power became notorious, resulting in the distinctive Habsburg jaw that marked many family members. Yet this same marriage strategy helped them maintain their position as one of Europe's leading dynasties well into the modern era, even as other medieval ruling houses faded into history. The Austrian line continued to rule a vast empire until the end of World War I. The last Habsburg emperor, Charles I, abdicated in 1918, ending centuries of Habsburg rule in Central Europe. His son Otto, born in 1912, became crown prince in 1916, but would live most of his life in exile. In 1961, Otto formally renounced his claims to the Austrian throne, marking a decisive shift in the family's relationship with their former domains. Otto's marriage to Princess Regina of Saxe-Meiningen in 1951 produced 7 children, including Karl von Habsburg-Lothringen, born the 11th of January 1961. Karl's arrival coincided with a transformative period for European nobility, the same year his father formally renounced all claims to the Austrian throne. While Otto never officially reigned, he reshaped the Habsburg legacy through his work in the European Parliament and tireless advocacy for European integration. Karl grew up watching his father navigate the complex landscape of post-war Europe, where ancient titles held little formal power but considerable social influence. At the University of Salzburg, he pursued studies in law and political science, preparing for a role in modern European society. His marriage to Francesca Thyssen-Bornemisser in 1993 produced 2 children, Eleonore in 1994 and Ferdinand in 1997. A new generation of Habsburgs born into a world where their family's golden eagles had been replaced by the stars of the European Union. These children would soon discover that being born Habsburg in the 21st century meant inheriting not just a name, but the weight of 1,000 years of empire. Ferdinand and Eleonore von Habsburg forged paths their imperial ancestors could never have imagined. While previous generations commanded empires, Ferdinand found himself mastering race cars, emerging onto the professional racing scene in 2015. His early performances showed promise in Formula 4, where he began building the foundation for a serious motorsport career. His progression through racing's ranks proved methodical and determined. Competing in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, he demonstrated that Habsburg talent could translate to the racetrack. His career expanded to include the FIA World Endurance Championship and Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters, culminating in a historic victory in the LMP2 class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2021. A triumph earned through skill rather than birthright. Meanwhile, Eleonore established herself in the fashion world. Her aristocratic background and Habsburg name opened certain doors, but she proved her worth through professional dedication and authentic engagement with the industry. When she married Formula E driver Jerome D'Ambrosio in July 2020, she maintained her characteristic balance of public presence and personal privacy. Their father, Karl's dedication to cultural heritage preservation, particularly through his work as president of Blue Shield International, provided a modern framework for maintaining the Habsburg legacy. Rather than dwelling on past glories, he focused on protecting cultural treasures for future generations, demonstrating how ancient families could remain relevant in contemporary Europe. Both siblings developed distinct approaches to public life. Ferdinand embraced the visibility that came with professional racing, while Eleanor cultivated a more selective public presence. Their engagement with modern media reflected a careful understanding of their unique position, neither running from nor trading solely on their Habsburg heritage. The evolution of their careers demonstrated the family's remarkable adaptability. Ferdinand's racing achievements, particularly in endurance racing and DTM, proved that Habsburg determination could thrive in contemporary competitive environments. Eleanor's fashion career showed how aristocratic heritage could harmonize with modern professional pursuits without being defined by it. As their professional lives flourished, they maintained connections to their historical legacy while forging distinctly modern identities. Their grandfather Otto had shown how the Habsburg name could remain relevant through engagement with contemporary European politics, and his grandchildren were proving equally adept at finding their place in 21st century society. Yet, as their careers accelerated, new challenges emerged. The digital age's demand for constant public exposure threatened the careful balance they'd struck between heritage and modernity. Social media's relentless spotlight began illuminating corners of their lives that previous generations of Habsburgs had kept carefully shadowed. Between 2021 and 2024, Ferdinand Habsburg continued to build his reputation in endurance racing. After his breakthrough victory in the LMP2 class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2021 with Team WRT, he solidified his position as a serious competitor in international motorsport. His continued success in the LMP2 class demonstrated that his Le Mans victory was no fluke, but rather the result of dedicated professional development. Meanwhile, Eleanor's life entered a new phase following her 2020 marriage to Jerome D'Ambrosio. While maintaining her work in fashion, she cultivated a characteristically private approach to public life, selectively choosing her professional engagements and public appearances. Their father Karl's ongoing work as president of Blue Shield International took on increasing significance during this period as the organization faced new challenges in cultural heritage protection. His focus on preserving historical artifacts and monuments during conflicts provided a modern context for the Habsburg family's traditional role as custodians of European culture. The siblings' divergent yet successful paths represented a new model for historical European families adapting to contemporary society. Rather than attempting to maintain outdated aristocratic traditions, they forged careers based on personal merit while acknowledging their unique heritage. This period marked a crucial evolution in how the Habsburg name functioned in modern Europe. Instead of serving as a reminder of lost imperial glory, it became associated with professional achievement in contemporary fields, from motorsport to cultural preservation. Their success demonstrated that historical legacy could coexist with modern ambition without compromising either. In 2024, the Habsburg siblings represent a striking case study in how Europe's oldest families can remain relevant in the modern world. Ferdinand continues his competitive driving career in the LMP2 class with Team WRT, his 2021 Le Mans victory standing as proof that merit, rather than birthright, determines success in contemporary motorsport. Their father Karl's work with Blue Shield International offers a different model of maintaining historical significance. As president of the organization, he focuses on protecting cultural heritage during conflicts and crises, transforming the Habsburg tradition of cultural patronage into practical modern action. This work proves particularly relevant as Europe faces increasing challenges to its cultural treasures. The contrast between their current roles and their ancestors' positions reflects broader changes in European society. While their forebears ruled through inherited authority from Vienna's Hofburg Palace, today's Habsburgs navigate a world where individual choice and professional competence determine one's place in society. Their adaptation offers insights for other historical European families facing similar challenges. The Habsburg approach, acknowledging their heritage while pursuing contemporary careers, demonstrates how ancient names can find new meaning in modern contexts. Their experience suggests that historical legacy can serve as a foundation rather than a constraint. This transformation may represent the most profound change in the family's long history. From Holy Roman emperors to professional race car drivers, from imperial rulers to cultural heritage protectors, the Habsburg evolution mirrors Europe's own journey from hereditary power to meritocratic society. Yet questions remain about how such historical families will navigate future challenges. As Europe grapples with technological change, political upheaval, and shifting social structures, even its oldest dynasties must continue adapting. The Habsburg story demonstrates that survival often means embracing change rather than resisting it. In the end, perhaps their greatest achievement lies not in preserving past glory, but in proving that Europe's most ancient names can find authentic purpose in the modern world. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Before this video, were you aware of these modern Habsburg heirs, and what is your opinion of the family overall? We look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for joining us for another episode of Old Money Luxury.